Hello everyone. Long time no music, huh? This channel is called Tony About Music, and still we haven't got any music since, don't know, a few months at least. But we're gonna change this today. This video will be all about epic trailer percussion. I created a little groove, an 8-bar loop, and I'm going to show you what I did, how I approached it, where I got the inspiration from, and how you can follow along to just do the same and create your own little epic percussion groove within a comparably short time. I always struggled with this. I was too overwhelmed by the sheer amount of different drums that are available. And finally, I got this problem solved, and I'm going to show you the way that I found to be really, really problem solving for me. But let's check out the intro first. Well, here we are. And initially, before starting into the topic, let me recommend you a YouTube channel, the YouTube channel that actually got me started on this one, which is Kevin Kuschel, a composer from Germany. He created a Discord server called Becoming a Pro Composer. And although I haven't joined the Discord server, I found his videos, which are called composing challenges, really, really useful. He's not only doing those, but he's doing those and a lot more useful stuff too. He's mainly going over all the different topics that are interesting to new trailer composers. And because I'm trying to create trailer music myself, I find his channel really, really inspiring and overall just useful. I will link the video that got me started on this one in the video description below and in the info card. So if you're interested in seeing the full process that I followed, then really go check out his channel. He's explaining things much better than I do, but I will go over it once again and tell you all the things that I did and things that I might have changed from his original way of doing things here. So, as he explains, we always have to think in 3 different frequency spectrums when creating a epic percussion drum trailer kind of beat. We have to think in lows, mids, and highs, obviously. And the rule of thumb is that the lower the frequency, the less notes we want to have, because the lower the frequency, the faster the spectrums tends to get muddy, right? So usually you want to have less kick drums and a lot of high percussion. And this is what I started with. I initially started with a kick drum, and I decided that I wanted to do a loop that is 8 bars long. So I created a kick drum, I picked it up, and I thought, okay, now let's do some really spare kick drums here, always on the first bar with a bit of variation. And yeah, that's what it ended up being like. This is the kick drum from Audio Imperia's Cerberus, by the way. If you want me to do an overview over this one as a sample library review, then let me know in the comment section below the video. Cerberus is mainly a epic trailer kind of percussion package, which is really, really awesome. I'm almost only trying to use Cerberus in here. I will definitely let you know wherever I didn't use Cerberus, because Cerberus doesn't or didn't have all the things that I needed. So I here and there sprinkled different tools into the mix, but mainly this is just Cerberus here. Okay, so now we've got the kick loop, right? But kick only is not what does the thing for me. I found the kick drum to be great, but something's missing, right? It's not as impactful as I wanted it to be. So I layered it with the Gran Casa ensemble from Cerberus 2. And this is what it sounds like. So this is both together, right? The Gran Casa ensemble alone is just this. And I found the kick drum to be a bit more helpful in terms of it's giving a bit of attack to the Casa ensemble. So both together are doing just fine here. So this is my low frequency spectrum. Now, as Kevin Kuschel suggested, I'm going to add the high frequency spectrum next, because usually this is what gives it a kind of frame. And as soon as we got the lows and the highs, we can fill the middle frequency spectrum with the toms and some other things. So here's what I did. I did a kind of 16th pattern with some variation and some fills, which are 32nd notes. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. And in some locations, I even left like spaces or holes, which could be filled with the toms later. I thought this would maybe be a good idea. And it's also meant to be kind of interesting and not always doing the same, although it ended up kind of doing the same. Anyway, here's some high frequency stuff that I found, which is called clicks, also from Cerberus. And this is what it sounds like. And I thought, okay, now let's layer this with the clacks, which are also from Cerberus, but only in the second part. So here's what it sounds like. Well, and this is my highs. Could probably be more, but this is kind of fine for now, right? Let's do this together with the low frequency spectrum. This is kind of boring still, but as soon as the toms come in, this is going to get funky. So now that we've got the lows and the highs, all we need is the mids. And this is where the toms come in my case. There are a lot of possible drums that you could use for the mids, really. There are toms, obviously. You've got Taikos, which is a typical kind of Japanese trailer drum that is frequently used. You can use frame drums, you can use snare drums, you can really do whatever you want, basically. And I decided to go with the stuff that Cerberus gives me. I decided to go with low, mid, and high toms. And I initially created a groove, and then I thought, okay, now this is wild, but on which toms do you want to put this? And I decided to go with the middle drums, with the mid drums, and then I sprinkled some low and high toms into the mix. And in the end, the mid drums turn out to be the most frequent ones and the low drums to be the less frequent ones, obviously, because the lower, the less notes. But the high drums added in some filler and fast percussion, again, with some 30-second notes. So here is what the middle spectrum sounds like. And this is really going to get funky and a bit busy and crazy, especially at the second part of the bar 3 and 4 and bars 7 and 8. But yeah, I found this to be actually interesting because this ends up creating something that the ear doesn't really get used to, so it stays interesting throughout the piece. Let's check them out separately at first. Let's check out the low toms first, because we are going to get a bit unconventional here. I'm going to toggle on the metronome so that you get an idea of how the groove actually goes. Now let's show you the middle toms. And the highs. And everything together. and together with the high frequency spectrum and the low frequency spectrum, our beat for now sounds like this. Now, what else did I do? We're almost finished, right? And I followed the tutorial by Kevin once again, and he thought that it would be great to layer some Taikos into the mid-frequency spectrum once again. So that is what I did. In a mainly doubled one of the toms. Let's see here. The mid toms, right? So this is the first ensemble that is not from Cerberus. This is the Taiko ensemble, the mid Taiko ensemble from Orchestratude's Metropolis Arc 3, just in case you're wondering. Now, let's pull this up, put it together with the toms, and show you once again. It just gives a little bit more oomph to the mid drums here. Well, we're almost finished, and the last step by Kevin adds two other frequency spectrums to the party, the very low and the very high frequency spectrum. I decided to go only with the very low frequency spectrum for now. Very high would be adding some trailer kind of like glitches and everything, which is something that I didn't want to go for because I wanted to remain like orchestral, like natural, instead of adding some weird synthetic stuff on top. So I also opted against the synthetic pads and drones and pulses that you could put under such a trailer track. But I decided to go for one thing. I added some booms on the first and on the fifth bar, and those are these. Right? That's all there's to say. And they are really not that audible. They are more like felt, especially on larger setups with speakers and everything. And the last thing that I decided to do is add a riser to the end and to the beginning of the loop, so that you have something that informs you and lets you know that you're actually going into a loop here and things that get looping. Although I definitely want to expand this to 16 bars before looping, because in 8-bar loop, we soon get noticed as a loop and it starts to get repetitive. But for now, it works that way. And we've got this little riser, and I will show you all of this together now. And the riser is a file, it's an audio file, so I will not be able to give you any instrument instructions on that. The boomers, however, come from a sample library called Zenith by Cinematic Tools, which is a Kontakt instrument. It's not NKS ready, but it can be loaded directly into Kontakt, and it's a great little library for trailer kind of stuff. So if you want to check that out, links in the video description. I will play you all of that together now, and you'll be able to listen to my little epic percussion beat, which I kind of find really, really great for the first thing that I did in this direction. So here's what I did. And there you have it. That's how I approached it. If you want to follow along, then feel free to do so. Grab your own trailer drums library and get going. Show me the results within the video description if you want to. Upload it to YouTube, link to it in your comment. I will definitely check it out and leave you a like if you want to. I also put you a link to my MIDI into the video description. So if you want to check it out on your own, then feel free to do so. But let me tell you that all I did was just play this in, humanize it, and that's all there is to say. That was a bit more music for you guys. If you want to see more musical stuff in the future, like the video and drop me a comment and let me know what you want to see next. Maybe I will be able to pick it up And my next musical video will already cover topics that you are most interested in. Hope that helped you a bit. If it did, then subscribe to the channel if you aren't already a member of the group. And now, until the next video. Bye bye.